Okay, so again with Dr. Kent Hovind's written permission, we're going to carry on with his series. This one's going to be Why I'm Not a Muslim. Hope you learned something. Thanks for watching. If you're going to leave a comment, again, make it G-rated. Thanks.
In our Why I'm Not series, we're going to be talking about different ministry, different organizations, churches, etc. What do they believe? And compare them to what the Bible says and learn why I'm not part of that one. I can agree with them on many things, but maybe I can't agree. First one we did is why I'm not an atheist. Tonight, why I'm not a Muslim. Okay, 2, 5, see if that's it. There we go. Okay. According to some website, there are approximately 31% of the world is Christian, by whatever that name means all kinds of different flavors of Christian. About 25% almost are Muslim, follow Islam. Okay? And then 15% follow secular, non-religious, agnostic, or atheist. And Hindu take another 15%. So, why I'm not an atheist, we did that one. They say there's no creator. I disagree. That's a lack of common sense. There has to be a designer. Which one is a different story? Is it Allah, Buddha, Jehovah? But there has to be a designer. So I can't be one of those atheists. I have too much brain power for that, okay? The non-Christian, some God other than the God of the Bible is the creator. I disagree with those. There are quite a few of those religions. We talk about those gradually here as we go. Christian, the God of the Bible is the creator. I think that's the only logical answer, okay? So Peter Ruckman did a great book, Why I'm Not a Muslim. If you want to read some of the stuff from Peter, he died years ago. Rude, crude, crass, mean, and brilliant. Here's what he said. In the Quran, it says, who obeys the messenger, he indeed obeys Allah. This is Muhammad himself writing this, calling himself the messenger. He's saying, if you obey me, you're obeying God. That's quite a statement for somebody to make, to call himself, flawless messenger of God. That's what he did, okay? This disgusting blasphemy is found throughout the Quran, Surah 4, 69, all these verses here. Over and over again, you're told that living good life does not depend upon, does not get you into heaven. You have to follow the messenger, okay? Something is badly out of whack here, especially when anybody who reads the Quran, if you could read, you'd see a red alert alarm shining in your face and hear a siren blowing before you go through 4 chapters of the Quran. The speaker is, in Surah 40, is the messenger. That would be Muhammad. It is Muhammad speaking about himself and disguising himself as an unknown third person by saying the messenger, meaning myself. He is doing the talking in the passage and claiming and demanding the same obedience given only to Allah. This means there's no such thing as Islam. It is Mohammedism. You follow Muhammad. Don Boyce, I think he's right about that. Okay. That was Peter Ruckman. Don Boyce also had a great website. He still does. He died recently, but Don Boyce, a good friend of mine, up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, has great information. His books, let's see, Don Boyce, here we go, Muslim Invasion. He really, really studied it out. Let's see, Christ, Muhammad, and I know that's David Daniels. We got so many books that we offer on this topic. I just want the truth. If they're right, I'll join them, okay? I want the truth. Who's got the truth? This one there, Don Boyce. Islam, America's Trojan horse. I thought I brought that one in. No, guess not. But is that one we sell, Bobby? Do we sell that book, Islam, America's Trojan horse? Well, you can get it from Common Sense for Today, cstnews.com or .org. Let's see. There it is, .com. cstnews.com. You can get that book from them for sure. Excellent. If you want to, I just want to know, what do they believe? Okay. CST News has a good article on Islam there on their website. Drop pig poop on Mecca if America is attacked. Here we go. Congress. If they attack us, never mind. Read that for yourself. There are no terrorists in Orthodox Islam. They recognize no such word. The press may call you somebody, but it doesn't mean anything. Your modern Muslim terrorist is a hero. If he's killed, he's a martyr. If you don't believe it, ask them, okay? They'll tell you. No Mohammedan could prophesy anything historical because there are no prophecies in the Quran. I like my Bible because it makes predictions that later come true, sometimes thousands of years later. Flawlessly true. like the Messiah would ride into Jerusalem on a donkey and be rejected by his own people? All prophesied. There's thousands of prophecies in the Bible. Okay. Muhammad, they call Muhammad a prophet. He didn't prophesy anything. So I have to disagree, okay? Mohammedans do not get any assurance about their salvation. They can never know for sure they're going to heaven. I feel bad for them. They're trying so hard, they want so badly to please what they think is their God, and many are very sincere people, and they're just, I think, deceived, okay? I'm sorry about that. God in Islam, there we go. What do Muslims believe? Well, actually, the Catholic Church helped start the religion of Islam. They funded Muhammad to get started. Read the book, The Prophet. We sell this one, don't we? How much? It's a comic book style. Jack Chick, excellent, covering the history of Islam, how they got started. The Catholic Church actually started them. Okay? And if you go to Mecca, they've got this great big box they walk around. I mean, millions and millions of them are required to make a pilgrimage to Mecca at least once in their lifetime. Walk around that big box. What on earth is in that box? Have you ever wondered? Well, what's in there is a rock. They claim that's a meteor that fell down from Jupiter. And so they worship this holy rock that fell down from Jupiter. Get the book, The Prophet. Don Boy's books about Islam. There it is, CST News, faithdefenders.com. There's lots of good websites that deal with this. Ask a Muslim, how do you know Muhammad was a prophet? He claimed to be. Anybody can claim that. But they say, well, we know he was because he had a mole on his back. Oh, holy moly. I got a mole on my back too. Okay. Muhammad said, when I am dead and buried in the ground and go back to dust, is that all? What will happen to me? He himself did not know for sure where he's going when he died. Some guy story here in Surah 18, when he reached the setting of the sun, he found it set in a pond of murky water. I think that's a scientific error in the book, okay? The sun does not set in a pond of murky water. I would say that's an error, okay? Allah commands that any person who leaves Islam or encourages others to do so should be seized and slain. 109 times in their book, it says you should kill anybody who won't convert or tell somebody else to unconvert, okay? It's a religion where God requires you to send your son to die for him. Christianity is a religion where God sent his son to die for you. I mean, they are total opposite. I'm sorry. I think they're wrong, okay? Jerusalem's prophecies, the city will be trampled underfoot by the Gentiles. And sure enough, it has been. The Romans and Byzantines had it until 638 AD. Then the Muslims had it. Then the Crusaders got it. Then the Turks got it. Then Israel got born again in 1948, but they're still not following God's word. Under Jewish control, capitals once again under Jewish control. Okay. The Lord said, I'll make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all people. Probably everybody in the world's heard about Jerusalem. More people have heard about that city than any other city. Little city, a little bitty country, and it's famous. Muslims believe that any land conquered for Allah must remain under Islamic control. Ask the Muslims, what do you want over there? Oh, from the river to the sea. What does that mean? Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. They want all of it. They're not going to be happy until all of Israel is annihilated and back to Islam. Nothing else will make them happy. PLO Charter. The liberation of Palestine is a national duty. The aims at the elimination of Zionism. Absolute responsibility for this falls upon Arab people and governments. Hamas Manifesto. The land of Palestine is an Islamic religious endowment consecrated for future Muslim generations until Judgment Day. It or any part of it should not be given up. So this is what the Jews have to deal with over there. The Muslims are not going to be happy till they wipe them out. Jehovah, the eternal triune God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has a son, is revealed through the Bible, loves the Jews with an everlasting covenant. Allah, the moon god, one of many pagan gods selected by Muhammad, has no son, revealed through the Quran, hates the Jews and calls for their destruction. These are not the same. They're not worshiping the same God. Islam is Israel's greatest adversary. They're formed out of an Arab paganism. The roots are traced back to Ishmael and Esau. Allah was the greatest of its 360 gods. They had 360 gods, one for every day. They picked one of them and made him the big one they worship. Muhammad, the last prophet, abolished the other 359 gods. Muhammad couldn't read, okay? And he said, all the rest of them are no good. We're picking this one, Allah. Muhammad and the Quran galvanized the Arabs into a conquering force in the 7th century. The Quran is said to be God's final, perfect, uncorrupted message to humanity. Islam is a religious, socio-political system with a mission to change the world into an Islamic society governed by the laws of Allah. 1.4 billion Muslims have a mandate to make Islam supreme. That's what they're taught from the time they're born. Iran, Persia, has a grand design to unite the Islamic world, and Russia has signed a treaty to back him. Which, when a country is conquered by the Muslims, you have three options: convert to Islam, pay a tax to obtain protection, in other words, you're now a slave, you work for them, or die by the sword if you refuse. That's your three choices. So if they conquer a country, that's their choices, okay? Does the Quran promote a peaceful religion? Make war on the unbelievers and hypocrites and deal rigorously with them, it says in Surah chapter 9. Make war on them until idolatry shall cease and God's religion reign supreme. Slay the idolaters wherever you find them. Take them captive and besiege them and lie in wait for them in every ambush. Fight against those who do not embrace the true faith. Of course, they think that's theirs, until they pay tribute out of hand and are utterly subdued. Here's a few of Islamic assaults on the infidels. Let's see, 1972 when they massacred the Israeli Olympic team. 1979, they took an embassy in Tehran was taken over and 52 hostages were held for a year. 1983, the Marine barracks in Beirut was blown up, killing 241 soldiers. 1988, Pan Am flight was bombed, killing 270 people. 1993, the first bombing of the World Trade Center. 1988, embassies bombed in Kenya and Tanzania, 200 dead and 4,000 injured. 2001, World Trade Center reduced to rubble, 3,000 people dead. We can go on and on. They're doing it again. They're still doing it. Nothing's changed. Allah told Muhammad that all those who opposed his message should be killed, or they should be nailed to a tree, or their hands and legs should be cut off. Imagine teaching that to a kid from the time they're little. When they get big enough to join the military and be a soldier, they're going to think they're doing a duty to Allah. When you meet and fight against those who disbelieve, smite at their necks till you have killed and wounded many of them. So jihad is offensive against any who will not convert. It's not defensive, as they would have you believe. The last hour will not come before the Muslims fight the Jews and the Muslims kill them. The purest joy for Islam is to kill and be killed for Allah. Afghan clerics demand convert be killed. This was back in the news, 20 years ago. Senior Muslim clerics demanded Thursday that an Afghan man on trial for converting from Islam to Christianity be executed. What's his crime? He converted to Christianity, warning that if the government caves into Western pressure and frees him, they will incite people to pull him into pieces. In an unusual move, Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice telephoned President Hamid Karzai on Thursday seeking a favorable solution to the case of Abdul Rahman. This has been their modus operandi for a long time, folks, and nothing has changed, okay? 41-year-old former medical aid worker faces the death penalty under Afghanistan's Islamic laws for becoming a Christian. He converted. Rejecting Islam is insulting God. We will not allow God to be humiliated. This man must die. Afghan clerics demand the convert be killed. President Bush said he's deeply troubled by the case and expects the country to honor the universal principle of freedom. It's in the news for all the time. It's not going to end. They don't understand. Let's see. I have the impression that he has a firm willingness to abide by the human rights requirements, Merkel said, going into pre-European Union summit talks. Hope we're able to resolve this. He's not crazy. He went in front of the media and confessed to being a Christian. That's his crime. Now they got to kill him. What if they came here and took over? That, by the way, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do it by simply outpopulating us. They're having a whole bunch of kids per family. Americans are averaging what, 1.5 or 2 now? Yeah. Cut off his head, the clerics demanded. Why? Because he claimed to be a Christian. Got to set an example. He must be hanged. Okay, well, In Persia, no people have been killed so far, only beasts. They killed tens of thousands of non-Muslims and said, we didn't kill any people, we only killed animals. They look at you that way. If you won't convert, you're just an animal. Allah created Adam, making him 60 cubits tall. This is what they teach. Adam was 90 feet tall. I have a hard time believing that, okay? In the great and final day of redemption, only white faces will be saved. All blackened faces will be condemned. Well, what does that mean? Marry as many women as you like. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's in the 4th surah. Muhammad married a 6-year-old. Abu Hara reported, the apostle of Allah, when any of you awakes from sleep and performs ablution, that's where they suck water into their nose, they're blowing the devil out, he must clean his nose 3 times, for the devil spends the night in the interior of his nose. That's the origin of the booger man. Satan stays in the upper part of the nose all night. The booger man, there he is. This is why I can't be one of them. There are several things I disagree with scientifically, logically, certainly morally. The apostle of Allah said people should avoid lifting their eyes toward the sky while in prayer, or otherwise their eyes will be snatched away. So that's why they bow down and put their head on the ground. If you lift up your eyes when you're praying, your eyeballs will fall out. I don't believe that, okay? I think that's a mistake. Allah's messenger said, non-Muslims eat in 7 intestines, Muslims eat in 1. Do non-Muslims really have 7 intestines? I think that's a scientific error, okay? Get Don Boy's book, Islam, America's Trojan Horse. I thought I had it right here. Who is this? Allah, Christ, Muhammad, and I by David Daniels, who works with Jack Chick. Excellent. I highly recommend that one. Holy Scriptures versus the Quran. I think, Peter Ruckman. Genius book. So I just want the truth. If you really want truth, I think you should be willing to look at all religions and say, do you want that one? I look at atheism and say, I don't want that one. It's illogical. If I said nobody made this pen, that's illogical. Somebody made it. I don't know who, I don't care. But somebody made it. Somebody made this world. And I think it's logical. If he made it, he did it for a reason. And I think maybe he wrote a book and told us about it. Let's see. Don Boys, let's see. The author, a guy who wrote a book critical of Islam, has a price on his head, over $1 million, to be paid to any Muslim who kills him. Dying as a martyr is the only way in Islam to be sure your sins are forgiven and you go to heaven. Here's where Kimberly gets teary-eyed. This article said, when you hear about bombers blowing themselves up, she said, it's not always because they hate those people. Many times it's because they're desperate for approval from God. Okay, all you Muslims, would you like God's approval? Accept the sacrifice that he did for you, Jesus Christ. He does love you. He wants you to be one of his children. And somebody's taught you the wrong thing, you better really study. And how the Catholic Church ties into this. We'll get into why I'm not a Catholic later. Get this one. How much? You know how much this one is? $13.75. Excellent. On the history behind all this. I encourage you to just read it. Okay. Questions or comments, brother? I liked your Hindu video yesterday. You happen to know where they believe, what they believe on origins? I think they don't. They think it's just eternal. It goes on and on and on forever. So there would be no beginning, which of course is, I think, illogical. Okay. Hey, Brother Sam, in great explaining their false religion. Sam Shamu? I don't know who that is. Is he have a program?
Yeah, he has his own channel.
What's it called?
I don't know his name. Yeah, but he does really good at breaking down Islam. He runs with David Wood in that crowd.
Okay. We'll write his name down, you guys, and check him out. I'm busy focused on creation evolution. Once in a while I kick a few, dogs that land in my way, but I don't want to get too far off track on. People say, why don't you take on the flat earthers? Somebody else do that. I got plenty to do. Okay, other questions? Where can one find the Quran in English? Oh, it should be easier. You got it misspelled there. But do I have one here? Over there? Okay, I got a huge library in here. That should not be a problem. I don't know. Google Quran in English. Okay. What happened to Jesuit priest Roberto, who was in the Chick comics, who was featured in the comic series? I don't know. You could call the Chick Publications in California. They're too closed now, but Chick, C-H-I-C-K, chick.com. Ask him. I never got to meet Roberto Rivera. Is he still alive? Anybody know? Okay, sorry. What's it say in the Bible about the Catholic faith? No, their name is not mentioned. Catholics started about 300 years after Christ in Alexandria, Egypt. I covered that a little bit on video number 7 of my seminar series. If you get the whole series, 18 hours, $50. I covered the history of the Catholic Church and how they started. We'll get into that in this series here, where they started. Okay, any more? You teach at schools, elementary schools. I have many times. I don't have any scheduled right now. If you want me to come, have me come. Huh? Depends where it's at, yeah. But sure, love to. Bring them here. Let them tour our Dinosaur Adventureland. We've got all kinds of fun stuff to do around here. Kent, was there only one ice age or two? That's so hard to tell. All we see is the leftover evidence. You know, was there one explosion or two when a building comes down? Pretty hard to tell. The ice, when it slides across the ground, carves out big grooves called a glacial groove. It pushes ahead a bunch of boulders, leaves them behind when it melts, called a terminal moraine. As it's plowing down the hill, it pushes the rocks to the side, makes a lateral moraine. There's a pile of rocks. There's evidence of ice, okay, moving, no question. Kettle lakes and erratics, boulders left behind. So they got those all over Iowa. I think whether there's one or two, I don't know that it can be proven. If so, it wouldn't matter to me. Don't care. I think it happened at the beginning of the flood and was simultaneous with the flood. Okay? God bless. Thank you. Appreciate that. Any more? That's it.
Well, that lady was asking how she finds out, if you have any advice on that.
How do I find out what?
About the schools. How would she go about finding out how to get you in the school?
Oh, contact the school and say, can we get a guest speaker to come in? I do it for free. Sure, be glad to. Teach about dinosaurs, okay? I spoke in many magic schools. I juggle knives. I do all kinds of magic tricks. Kids like it, and teach science lessons. Blow things up, burn things down. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you. See you tomorrow for Whack an Atheist.